Okay, and I think it is time to begin. So, welcome, welcome, welcome to Experience It, Learn It, Use It, Model Online Lessons with National Geographic Learning. This is the first in our new series of professional development webinars where you, the teacher, will become the student. You will learn teaching tips and ideas through taking part in the lesson because, as we all know, the best way to learn something is by doing it. All right. My name is Will Lashett, and I am the teacher trainer for the Asia region for National Geographic Learning. And you can see my email address here. It's william.lashett@cengage.com if you need to contact me with any questions that you may have. Okay, I'm just going to do a new share because I don't think I'm sharing exactly what I want to be sharing. Okay, here we go. So today's lesson, as you know, is 3 things I learned while my plane crashed, and this is from World English 3rd edition level 3. And this is one of our adult titles, and I think this is a good time to do my first poll. So I'm going to put a poll question. Up on the screen now, and this is just to help us understand who is registering and who is attending our sessions. So it's just, who do you teach? Very simple. So I'd just like you to tick as many as apply to you. So if you teach young learners and teenagers and adults, you can click all 3 of those. If you're not a teacher, you can click that as well. That's fine. So really just to give us an idea of the range of teachers that we've got coming in today. Okay, so I can see 37 of you have voted. That's good. I'll give you a few more seconds. Okay, it's quite interesting results. Okay, so most of you have voted. And let's have a look. So I'm going to end the polling now. And I'm going to share the results with you. Okay, so it's quite interesting. So we can see here that today we've got actually the majority of you are teaching teenagers, but we also have the same amount. We have 35% teaching adults and 35% teaching young learners. So and this is an adult session, but I can see that we have actually quite a broad range of teachers coming in today. So that's very interesting for us. That's useful for us to know. And I should mention here as well that in next week, for example, we are having a young learner session, and the week after is a session based on a lesson for teenagers. So we are going to be rotating through and doing different types of lesson. Okay, so thank you very much for taking part in that poll. Okay, so I have some good news for everybody. So we have lots of requests and inquiries about certificates for these professional development sessions. And I'm very happy to announce that from today, all participants will be receiving this beautiful certificate designed by our very own designer, Sophia. And we will send it to you after the session. And when you get it, you will be able to fill in your own name. And you'll be able to save it, you'll be able to print it, you'll be able to show it to your boss if you need to, you'll be able to put it in a picture frame and hang it on your wall or whatever you would like to do with it. Okay, so yeah, we have listened to feedback and we're very happy to offer everybody this certificate of participation. So this will be going out in an email after the session. Okay, good. June says, yay. Okay, thank you. Good. So I think a few of you are pleased with that. Types of interaction. So this is an interactive session. Lessons should be interactive. And some of these tools that I'm using today, you've probably used before, and some of them you might not be so familiar with. So I'm going to very quickly explain them. So first of all, we have unmute or the webcam. So I will be giving you a chance to speak in this, a few of you, or use the webcam. We're going to be using the chat box, which we're already using. We're going to be using screen annotation. We're going to be using the breakout rooms, and this is the first time that I've tried to use the breakout rooms in a webinar. I've used it in other situations before, so we'll see how that goes. And we're going to be using the polls, which we have already used. So the first one, the unmute, I think most of you know how to do this, but to use it, you're just going to click on the microphone or the video symbol at the bottom left of your screen to turn this on or off. I would be grateful if you could keep yourself muted for most of the webinar, apart from when you're in the breakout room or if you're asking or answering a question, so that everybody can hear. You can see the symbols down on the bottom left of your screen here with the big arrow. So the microphone, this is what you click to mute or unmute, and the video button, this is to turn on or turn off your video. Okay, so what I'm going to try now, what I'd like to do, I would like to ask you to put on your webcam just so that I can see a few of you, because you can see me, but I can't see most of you. So I'm interested to see who we've got on screen today. I can see Siska waving at me. I can see Asep. Okay, I can see Mario. Okay, Hiyeg. I can see Colleen, Sean. I can see. Okay, great. So I've got quite a lot of you here. So I'm going to ask as many of you as you can just to turn on your webcam for a minute. And after 3, I would like you all to give me a big wave just to say hello. Okay, so after 3, right, 1, 2, 3. Okay, hello everybody.
Hello everyone.
Hey,
Hello.
Hello. Hi.
great.
Hi from Vietnam.
Hello from Vietnam. Okay, that's very nice. Okay, excellent.
Yeah,
And we're going to do one
here.
more. Okay, after 3 this time, I would like everybody after 3, I would like you to strike a pose. Okay, so you can use your hands, your arms, okay, your face, whatever you want. Okay, so on the count of 3, everybody strike your best pose for me. Okay, so we'll do it in reverse this time after 3. 3, 2, 1. Okay, strike a pose.
Yes.
Okay, that's wonderful. Okay, so nice to see so many smiling, beautiful faces. Okay, and that makes me feel a bit more connected to you today. Okay, so that's excellent. You can keep your video on for the duration of this if you wish, or if you want to turn it off, you can. But I will ask you, please, just to put yourself back onto mute now, so that everyone can hear what I'm saying. Okay, so please, yeah, return yourself to mute. But keep your webcam on if you like. I need to unmute myself. There we go. I think I am unmuted. Yes, okay, you can hear me. Right, so the chat box, I know you know how to use it, but I'm just gonna just run through this anyway. In the chat box, okay, please make sure you have it set to everyone so that when you type something, everybody can see it. We will be putting questions and links into the chat box for you to copy. So it's a good idea to keep your eye on it so that you can get some useful information from there. We will also be sending you a document, a PDF. In fact, I think we can do that now. So I'm going to send that right now. I'm going to send you a handout. So if you look in the chat box now, you should see handout 1, World English. So it would be a good idea if you can download that, okay, and then you can have that so you can reference it throughout the session. This will be a 1-hour session, Mario. While we're in the chat box, I'd just like you to type in very quickly. Can you type in where you are right now? So I'm going to start. I'm from Singapore, or I'm not, I'm from England, but I am in Singapore. So I just want you to type into the chat box where you're from. So we've got Taipei, Indonesia, Thailand, Malaysia, China, South Korea, Malaysia, Indonesia. Okay, great. So we've really got people coming from Bogor, Indonesia. We've got a lot of people from Indonesia. That's great. and from Malaysia. So we've got people signing in from many different places, and that's always nice to have a good variety of people. And yeah, it's interesting for me, from the Philippines as well, and from the Vietnam. Okay, that's fantastic. Thank you very much. All right, let's move on. We're also going to be using the Zoom annotation tools, which I think some of you will have used before. To use the annotation tools, you need to look at your toolbar, and you will see this annotate. So I would like you to click on that. And after you've clicked on the pencil, the annotate, I would like you to click on the stamp, and you can choose one of these stamps. So there's a star or a heart or an arrow. So I'd like you to choose one of those right now. And I'd just like you to click on the screen. Okay, so click on the screen somewhere. Okay, there we go. Perfect. So got some big arrows on there. All right, and we're now going to clear the screen. And I am going to go to the next slide. Right, this is the wrong slide. Okay, let me get to the right one. Here we go. All right, so I'm going to clear the screen. And what I would like you to do now, I have 3 famous types of Singaporean food on the screen. And I would like you just to click to stamp, okay, the one that you would like to eat, the one that you would like to try. So on the left, we've got chendol, which is a Singaporean dessert. And in the middle, we've got black pepper crab. And on the right, we've got roti prata, which is very popular for breakfast in Singapore. So which one of these would you like to eat? Which would you like to try? Wow, so we're getting a lot of people clicking on the crab and the chendol, but the roti is not getting so many. Okay, I'm surprised. That's my favorite one, the roti prata. You can get one for $1 for breakfast, and they taste great. Okay, so it looks like, I think the chendol seems to be the most popular. Okay, so obviously I have an audience today with a sweet tooth. Okay, perfect, great. So this is, yeah, just to make sure that we understand how to use the different tools. All right, great, so we can clear the annotations. Thank you very much. And I'm gonna get rid of my toolbar up here. And I'm gonna go back into my presenter view. All right, so we are gonna try today the breakout rooms. So let me just briefly introduce what they are and what the aim is. So later on, I will randomly assign you into a group of roughly 4 people. A breakout room is an individual meeting room. You'll be sent out and then you will come back. Automatically, you don't have to do anything. While you're in the breakout room for a discussion, I would like you to unmute and take part in that discussion. This is to simulate pair work or group work in a lesson. If you can't unmute, please use the chat box. I don't know, maybe you're at home and your baby's sleeping or something. So if you can't talk, if you've got a very noisy background, just use the chat box, but please try to participate. Afterwards, I will choose someone to unmute and share something from the discussion that they had. So please be ready to answer. As you will be working with people you don't know, with strangers, I would like to ask you to please be respectful, please be kind, you know, please be polite, and please take part. And hopefully this will be a fun and enjoyable experience for everyone. Okay, so let's move on to the lesson. Today we are using World English 3rd edition, level 3. This is for adult learners, and it is a high intermediate B2 level program. This is the front cover, and the lesson we are using today is the video journal, which is based on a TED Talk. I will be using the classroom presentation tool, which is a piece of software which has all of the content from the student book, from the workbook, all of the video, all of the audio embedded into it. This is a resource that can be downloaded onto your computer and can be used in the classroom, or it can be used, as I am today, to teach online. So I would now like to swap over. So I need to change my, I'm going to stop sharing that, and I'm going to reshare with my screen. And we are going to move to the CPT. Okay, let me get my chat box up so I can see that. Okay, perfect. Right, so here we go. So now we are in the software, the CPT, the Classroom Presentation Tool, and we're looking at Unit 5. So you can see here are all the lessons. Just to give you a little bit of context, we're doing the last lesson in this unit. So I'm just going to show you a couple of things here. So we can see earlier in the unit, students will have studied conditional language. They will have studied hypothetical, conditional, unreal language, which is what they will need to be using in the lesson we're looking at today. Students will have also, they will also have discussed threats to survival, which is linked to the topic, a thematic link. They will also have looked at this grammar, wish and hope. And they will have also done a reading lesson based on a rescue. This lesson is based on the Thai boys, the football team, who were tragically stuck in a cave 2 weeks ago and then were rescued. So there's a theme of a rescue. So when we then move on to the lesson that we are going to look at, we can see, or you will see, that these three themes of hypothetical language, survival, and rescue are all tied in to this lesson at the end. So it's summarizing the content of the unit. Okay, so we're going to begin the lesson. And this lesson is 3 things I learned while my plane crashed. And as I said, I'm going to ask you today to take part as students. So let's begin by looking at who is giving the TED Talk. So his name is Ric Elias, and he's an entrepreneur. And his TED Talk is about how life can change very quickly. And that he learned through going through a life-changing experience that you should always do your best, not wait until later to do something. You shouldn't postpone things. So this is the basic theme of the lesson. So we're going to start here. We have a photo of the plane you can see down there with some people standing on the wing. And this is from US Airways flight 1549. And I'm just going to ask you a couple of questions. I would like you to type into the chat box for me. So yeah, can you type into the chat box now? What do you know? Do you know anything about this incident that we're looking at, US Airways flight 1549? So please type into the chat box, what do you know about this? Never heard of it? No. Okay, nothing? No. Okay, there was a miracle landing. The captain saved them. Is this where the movie Sully was based from? Tom Hanks movie. There we go. Yes. Okay, so yeah, June has read about it. There was a movie. That's right. So we do have some ideas. It's a real situation, but there was a movie called Sully, which had Tom Hanks, and which they reenacted this event. Great. I'm going to ask you one more question. If you see these people out here standing on the wing, I'd just like you to think, what do you think these people are saying to each other? So they're standing out here on the wing. What kind of things do you think they're saying to each other? He said, thank God. Yeah, is help coming? Okay, that's right. Keep the balance. That's right. Yeah, make sure you first. Grateful. Great. And I'm going to type in or think about this. I said that one of the grammar points was I hope and I wish. So can we think of something that they are saying using I hope? So a sentence starting with I hope. Can you complete that sentence for me? I hope. So what might they be saying using the sentence I hope? I hope we survive this. I hope the help comes soon. I hope rescuers would come safely. Okay, there we go. Perfect. I hope you can swim. I can't. I hope we can pass this. That's perfect. Thank you. And we'll do one more. I would like you now to type in a sentence beginning with I wish. Okay, so I wish. So what might they be saying based with I wish? I wish I did not take this flight. I wish I stayed home. That's right. I wish I can get out of this soon. I wish I missed the flight. That's right. And this is very nice. So all of you have automatically identified the correct difference between hope and wish. I wish I was at home. That's right. Nice with the past tense. So for wish, for being something that is not real, okay, and for I hope, something in the future. Okay, that's great. So we can see how we can tie this lesson in with the grammar that's been studied earlier on. Okay, thank you very much. That's perfect. Let's move on to the next activity. So we are going to, this is a video lesson, and we're going to be watching the video. Before we get into the actual video itself, we're going to watch the kind of the background setting part. So I'm just going to play that. I'm just going to double check that my sound is on. Yes, my sharing computer sound is on. So I'm just going to play just a minute of this, and just we'll discuss what this means in a moment.
Ric Elias is the Chief Executive Officer of Red Ventures, an internet marketing company. In his TED Talk, Elias describes how he felt when he survived a plane crash. He thought it was a miracle. Elias describes his feelings when he thought he would die. He says that he wanted to mend fences and have a more positive relationship with some people. He also shares how the purpose of his life has changed since that day. And he asks the audience to think about the negative energy in their own lives and how they could eliminate it.
Okay, so I'll just pause that. So this here, we're giving some background information, okay, to help us understand the video. I'm just going to ask you a couple of questions based on this. So first question I'm going to ask you is, what did he want to do? So when he thought that he would die, what did he want to do? So if you could please just type that into the chat box. So when he thought that he was going to die, what did he want to do? So you should be able to see the answer on the screen at the moment. Right, there we go. He wanted to mend fences. That's right. He wants to live. Okay, he wants to mend fences. That's perfect. And I'm going to ask you one more question. Okay, what did he want to eliminate? Okay, second question. What did he want to eliminate? Negativity, negative effects, negative energy. That's great. Okay, so yeah, those are the correct answers. Okay, that's very nice. Now you may have noticed that there is some quite tricky vocabulary here. So we've got words like mend fences, you know, which is idiomatic language, and it's not, a lot of students won't understand that. And we've also got things like negative energy, which is difficult to understand. So although we have this this useful information to set up the background, we need to do a bit more, okay, so that we're supporting students and structuring the lesson correctly. So let's have a look at the next part on the video and see what comes next. Okay, so we can see that straight away we're going to define, okay, some of the key vocabulary. And I'm going to ask you now to type into the chat box, okay, so what do you think the answer is? So you've got to choose the correct definition. And most of you are typing in C, okay, well done. So miracle, a lucky event that is surprising. So let's see, let's check. And we can see the correct answer is C, okay, well done. So let's have a look at the next one. So mend fences, this is one that we pulled out a minute ago. So mend fences, what does this mean? Is it to fix a machine? Is it to improve a relationship? Or is it to think about something that is not working? So I can see lots of B's coming out here, lots of B's. And that's the correct answer, well done. To improve a relationship, to mend fences. Okay, the next one, number 3, purpose. Okay, lots of A's going into the box, into the chat box. And it is an aim or a goal. Okay, number 4, negative energy. I'm just going to pause there because I want to just check the answer in a different way. Okay, just for a bit of variety. So I'm going to ask you again now. Please, could you turn on your webcam again? And we're going to do the answer like this. So I want you to show me, okay, the answer. So we've got A, B, and C. So if you think the answer is A, I want you to hold up one finger, okay, in front of your head. All right, like this. If you think the answer is B, I want you to hold 2 fingers. And if you think the answer is C, I want you to hold 3 fingers, okay, up in front of the camera so that I can see exactly what you're thinking, all right? So this is a kind of formative assessment where I can actually assess how many people are getting the answers correct, okay? And it's just a different way, a bit more fun, okay? So I can see lots of you on screen. So I'm going to play the video, okay? And I'll be watching to see how many of you hold up the fingers with the correct number, okay? So let's go. Negative energy. Okay, I'm just going to pause it there. Okay, so I want you to hold up your fingers in front of the camera. So what does it mean? Okay, 1, 2, or 3. I can see Colleen has got 3. Okay, I can see Siska has got 3 fingers up. Okay, I can see 1 finger. Okay, Kavita's got 1 or 3. Okay, change to 3. Okay, so we've got a couple of different answers. Maria's got 2. Okay, let's see. So we've got all different answers. Okay, so let's check and see what the answer is. Are you ready? Okay, negative energy, what does it mean? So in this context, it means, I can hear some lovely music in the background. Maybe we could mute our microphones. Okay, so it means things that can upset people, make people upset. We'll do one more. Okay, one more. So keep your camera on. This is the last one. So number 5. Okay, here we go. So eliminate. Okay, what does this mean? Does it mean to come up with, to get rid of, or to find out about? Okay, so I can see lots of 2s. Okay, lots of Bs. Okay, let's find out. And the answer is, it means to get rid of. Okay, well done. Very nice. Thank you very much for participating there. I think this is useful, this question, because we've got here, we've got the difficult Latin-based verb eliminate, and then we've also got the phrasal verb, which people are more likely to use in spoken English. So it's good to illustrate the difference between, or the similarity, okay, but the difference in context here. Okay, that's perfect. Thank you very much, everyone. Okay, and let's move on to the next part. Okay, so we're going to watch the beginning, okay, of the first part of Ric's TED Talk. But the task here, what I'd like you to do before we watch it, we have 6 events that Ric talks about. We can see them on the right here. A flight attendant said the plane hit some birds. The pilot turned the plane around. The plane was silent after the engines were turned off. The plane's engine started to make a scary noise. The plane's pilot told everyone to brace, and there was an explosion and smoke filled the plane. So what I want to do here, I want you to think about the order that these might have happened. Okay, now, I don't want you just to guess, okay, just to write down A, B, C, D, E, F, or whichever order. I want you to think and use some critical or logical thinking. So this is a really good opportunity, to introduce critical thinking. And I'm going to give you an example of how we can do this. So if we look, because this is a difficult task because we don't know. So the best way to do this is to break it down. So if I take 2 of these, for example, C and D, the plane was silent after the engines were turned off and the plane's engine started to make a scary noise. If we think logically about this, we can really try and guess, okay, which one happened first. So if we look at C and D, into the chat box, which one of these do you think happened first, right? So the engines made a scary noise. Okay, just from C and D, okay, just these 2, C and D. The plane was silent after the engines were turned off and the engines made a scary noise. So most of you are putting D, in fact, all of you are putting D. So why? Why is it D, do you think? What makes you say D? If you could type into the chat box. So this is about cause and effect, isn't it? So what was the cause here? Okay, it's just because it hit something. Okay, so we hit something, and that's why the engines made a noise. And why did they turn off the engines? Okay, right. So because the engine was on fire, the engine was turned off because of the strange noise. Astrid, that is absolutely right. There we go. Astrid, that's perfect. So the engine was turned off because of the strange noise. So, you know, we can use logic to work this out, and we can also introduce language or get our students to practice this. So we had there because, that's great for cause and effect. So we could say D must have happened before C. And the reason for this is that the engine was turned off because it was making a scary noise. So we can encourage our students, to think about logically and to, to really analyze this. So if we had more time, I would get you to do more. Okay, F, I would compare F and A and B and E. And this way we can start putting it together. But I'm just going to give you just, a minute just to look at these and on your own, just try to choose the correct order. Okay, so what do you think? You can type the correct order into the chat box if you like. So just take a few seconds to think about this and to put these events in what you think will be the correct order. Okay, so Sean says D, F, A, B, C, E. Okay, is anyone else going to have a go? Make a prediction? Kavita says DCA, EBF. Okay, good. And maybe I'll wait for one more. Someone else have a go? Who's going to be brave and have a go? Okay, well, we got two. Okay, two is good, right? We will see if either of them were correct. Okay, so let's go back to the video, and yeah, we're going to watch the first part of the TED Talk. And as you are watching, I want you to check your prediction to see which order these 6 things happened. You can see them on the screen here.
So imagine a big explosion as you climb through 3,000 feet. Imagine a plane full of smoke. Imagine an engine going clack, 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 clack. Sounds scary. Well, I had a unique seat that day. I was sitting in 1D. I was the only one who could talk to the flight attendants. So I looked at them right away, and they said, no problem. We probably hit some birds. The pilot had already turned the plane around, and we weren't that far. You could see Manhattan. 2 minutes later, 3 things happen at the same time. The pilot lines up the plane with the Hudson River. It's usually not the route. He turns off the engines. Now imagine being on a plane with no sound. And then he says 3 words, as unemotional 3 words have I ever heard. He says, brace for impact. I didn't have to talk to the flight attendant anymore. I could see in her eyes, it was terror. Life was over. And I want to share with you 3 things I learned about myself that day. I learned that it all changes in an instant. We have this bucket list, we have these things we want to do in life. And I thought about all the people I wanted to reach out that I didn't. All the fences I wanted to mend. All the experiences I wanted to have and I never did. As I thought about that, later on I came up with a saying, which is, I no longer want to postpone anything in life. And that urgency, that purpose has really changed my life.
Okay, so well, first we're going to check our predictions. Again, then we're going to talk about what Rick said in that first part. Lincoln says, oh boy, utter failure. Okay, it's not easy. Okay, so we're going to do this together, okay, collaboratively. And I would like you to use the annotate tool. Okay, so please can you find your annotate tool? And I'd like you to get the stamp and choose the stamp that you like. What I would like you to do, I would like you to put a stamp next to the sentence here, the event that you think came first. All right. So if you think there was an explosion first, you put a click there. If you think the engines made a scary noise was first, put that there. Okay, so most of you are going for the plane's engine started to make a scary noise. Actually, that is not the first one. Okay, now I see a few of you down here. Yeah, okay, now a lot of you are getting it. This one at the bottom, there was an explosion and smoke filled the plane. Okay, so I'm just going to clear your annotations and we're going to check. I need to, Andrew, can I ask you to clear the annotations for me? There we go. So that's number one. Okay, so now I want you to tell me which one happened second. So first there was an explosion. Which one happened next? Okay, I've got a tick. Yeah, this is right. Okay, there we go. The plane's engine started to make a scary noise. Okay, Andrew, can we clear, please? Thank you. Okay, which one happened third after the scary noise? And I can see, well done. Okay, at the top here, a flight attendant said the plane had hit some birds. Great. Andrew, can we clear the screen? Thank you. Which one was number 4? And we've got B, the pilot turned the plane around. That is correct. Well done. Okay, let's clear the screen. Number 5. This is excellent. Yeah, the plane was silent after the engines were turned off is correct. Number 5. And the last one, the last thing that happened, the plane's pilot told everyone to brace for impact. Okay, there we go. Number 6. Okay, that is excellent. And I just want to give a shout out to Sean, because Sean, who was the first to answer in the prediction, was very, very close. Just had D and F the wrong way around, but had almost perfect, Sean. Okay, so well done. That was some fantastic either logic or guesswork. I'm not sure, but yeah, really well done. And the correct answer is FDA BCE. FDA BCE. Okay, well done, everybody. Okay, so we're going to now have a look and talk a little bit about what Sean is saying. And he's talking about, he's describing the events on the plane when he was told that the plane is going to crash. And he mentions something called a bucket list. So I'm going to start the video. So yeah, Rick talks about a bucket list, and a bucket list, as it says here, is a list of things that you want to do before you die. It's called a bucket list. This is from an idiom in English, which is to kick the bucket, which means to die. But it sounds a bit nicer, doesn't it, to say kick the bucket rather than die. Dying sounds a bit sad. So we call this a bucket list. What do we want to achieve? What do we want to do before we die? So we're going to do this together. I would like you to, in the chat box, just to type in, is there anything that you really want to do, a place you really want to go, something you want to achieve before the end of your life? So I'm going to ask you to type into the chat box, yeah, anything that you have on your bucket list. If you don't have a bucket list, then you can just think about that now. Sean says, actually reach Antarctica. Okay, wow, down to Antarctica. Wan Xin Tiao says, visit Africa, travel the world. Vina says, I want to be a panda keeper in China. Okay, fantastic. Dien says, I wish to go around the world. Astrid wants to run the Tokyo Marathon. Have a home of my own, says Siska. Yeah, that's a very nice goal to have. Take my family on a road tour, says Frederick. Asep says, do the Hajj with his family. That's great. Okay, so we've got a lot of interesting things. And have a farm. Lena says, have a farm. I want to visit Iceland, says Amruta. Going to Mecca to do the good things for my religion, says Nuri. So it's interesting. A lot of you, almost everyone, has put in travel. Okay, they'd like to go traveling. Someone put in there, just lost it again, says they would like to help people. Okay, that's nice. Here we go. Zaida says, help more people in need. Phoebe says, I want to say thank you to everybody. Take care of my parents till the end. Okay, very nice. So that is, yeah, it's very interesting, okay, to see some of your different ideas. If we had more time in the lesson, we would get people to discuss and to explain, okay, why they have these wants and these goals in their life. Okay, thank you very much for sharing. That was very interesting. Okay, we're going to continue.
The second thing I learned that day, and this is as we clear the George Washington Bridge, which was by not a lot, I thought about, wow, I really feel one real regret. I've lived a good life. In my own humanity and mistakes, I've tried to get better at everything I've tried. But in my humanity, I also allow my ego to get in. And I regretted the time I wasted in things that did not matter with people that matter. I thought about my relationship with my wife, with my friends, with people. And after, as I reflected on that, I decided to eliminate negative energy from my life. It's not perfect. It's a lot better. I've not had a fight with my wife in 2 years. It feels great. I'm no longer trying to be right. I choose to be happy.
Okay, I'm going to pause it there. So Rick says there, I no longer try to be right, I choose to be happy. And for me, this is a very, very powerful statement that he makes, and it's something that I can identify with. And I'm interested to see what you think he means by this. So I'm going to put a poll up on the board, up on the screen. And you can see the poll there. And I'm now going to play the video so that we can see the choices. So what do you think that he means by this? Okay, so he says, I no longer try to be right, I choose to be happy. So what do you think he means? I'd like you to answer in the poll, okay, by choosing in the poll A, B, or C. I'm going to move that so that you can see more easily both. So instead of trying to win arguments, he tries to avoid them. Instead of working hard, he tries to find fun things to do. Or instead of talking to his wife, he has fun experiences with her. So which of these things do you think he means? Okay, so we've got a lot of answers coming in. I'll give you a few more seconds to answer. Julia thinks it's B. Okay, so almost half of you have answered, less than half have answered. I'll give you a few more seconds. Sean has put losing or shedding the need to be in control. Yeah. Okay, perfect. So enough of you have voted. I'm now going to end the poll and I'm going to share the results with you. So we can see that 73% of you said A. Instead of trying to win arguments, he tries to avoid them. And this is the correct answer. So a few of you also thought it might be B or C. I think this is very interesting to me. It's about not being stubborn. It's about taking the high road, to use another English idiom, about trying to avoid negativity. I think that's very important. He also said that he hasn't had an argument with his wife for 2 years, so that is definitely something that I can learn from Rick in this case. Okay, so the answer is A. So well done. 73% got this correct. Well done. Okay, let's move on. Let go of your ego, says Lincoln. That is right. Exactly. Let go of your ego. Okay, let's see the next question.
The third thing I learned, and this is as your mental clock starts going 15, 14, 13, you can see the water coming. I'm saying, please blow up. Right? I don't want this thing to break in 20 pieces like you've seen in those documentaries. And as we're coming down, I had a sense of, wow, dying is not scary. It's almost like we've been preparing for it our whole lives. But it was very sad. I didn't want to go. I love my life. And that sadness really framed in one thought, which is, I only wish for one thing. I only wish I could see my kids grow up. About a month later, I was in a performance by my daughter, first grader, not much artistic talent yet. And I'm bawling, I'm crying like a little kid. And it made all the sense in the world to me. I realized at that point, by connecting those two dots, that the only thing that matters in my life is being a great dad. Above all, the only goal I have in life is to be a good dad.
Okay, so this is the last question on this part of the video. So Rick says, above all. And why do you think he repeats this phrase? So if you could put it into the chat box for me, A, B, or C. I'm getting lots of answers for C. Okay, let's have a look. And you are, of course, correct. This is very important, I think, to highlight this kind of language, because this is the kind of language learners need. And it's something that's very effective in real life. So when our students are out working, when they're in a meeting, okay, when they're making a presentation, this is a very effective way, okay, of emphasizing a point strongly, and a technique which can be applied directly in real life. Okay, well done. This was C. Okay, let's watch the end of the talk.
I was given the gift of a miracle of not dying that day. I was given another gift, which was to be able to see into the future and come back and live differently. I challenge you guys that are flying today. Imagine the same thing happens on your plane, and please don't. But imagine, and how would you change? What would you get done that you're waiting to get done because you think you'll be here forever? How would you change your relationships and the negative energy in them? And more than anything, are you being the best parent you can? Thank you.
Okay, there we go. So, yeah, as I said, I really enjoy this TED Talk. I think Rick makes some very powerful statements there. And it's something that I definitely enjoy listening to. We're going to do a last activity, which I know I'm running a bit short on time, but I want to get this done because I want to try it. So I'm going to put you into a breakout room for 5 minutes to discuss the questions you can see on the board, on the screen here. So Rick asks you to imagine that you were in a situation where you almost died. Okay, so something that really made you evaluate and think about your life. And if you were in the situation, how would you improve your relationships? What would you do that you've been waiting to do? What would you say to people? And where would you go, and who would you go with? Now, Rick actually mentions these first 2 questions, but you can discuss any of these that you like. I am going to put the questions here into the chat box. Okay, so you should be able to see the questions here in the chat box. Okay, if you almost died but survived, what would you do to improve your life? And I'm now going to send you, all of you, into a breakout room, and I'm going to give you 5 minutes to discuss in your groups this question. Okay, so I've got here 19 breakout rooms. There will be 4 people in each room. Okay, so can everybody see the questions in the chat box? Can you see the questions there?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, great.
I can see it.
Perfect. All right. So are you ready? So it's going to be a new experience. Okay, I'm going to send you for 5 minutes, okay, to discuss, and then we're going to come back and I'm going to ask a couple of you to share what you discussed. All right. Okay, so don't be alarmed. Okay, you're now going to be transported into another room. When you're in the room, please turn on your microphone, and you can discuss these questions. Okay. Right, here we go. I'm going to set a time limit. They close automatically. I'm going to give you 4 minutes. Okay, here we go. So let's go.
Who am I working with? clear warning with home.
Okay, I can see a few of you are still here. Brenda, I'm not sure why that has happened. So Brenda, Ika, Marika, okay, a few of you still here. Okay, Brenda, Ika, and Marika, if you want, you can unmute and we can talk about it if you like.
I'm sorry, I got disconnected. What was the question again? Sorry,
Okay, Brenda.
so sorry.
Yeah, that's fine, Brenda. Okay, so we're discussing the questions that you can see on the screen now.
Oh, okay.
So the questions are: if you had a near-death experience, how do you think that would make you change your life? So what would you do to improve your relationships? What would you do that you've been waiting to do? So I'll give you an example. So for me, you know, I think maybe I would try to spend less time looking at my phone and more time talking to my family and listening to them. So I think that would be a positive change. That you know, going through an event like that might make me realize that I'm wasting my time by looking at my phone. So that would be an example. So do you have anything, any ideas?
Well, if I am in a near, if I almost die, I think I would, if I have time, but I will probably be nicer to people.
Okay.
And my
Yeah.
and my students.
And your students. Okay, great. Brenda, in a minute, when people come back in, is it okay if I ask you to answer the question? Because I'm going to ask a couple of people just to share an idea. Do you mind doing that?
No, I don't mind. Sure, no problem.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, great. So I will call on you to say what you just said to me. Thank you.
Sure, thank you.
Okay, so people should be coming back into the main room any second now.
All right.
Okay, I'm closing them. All right. Okay, so people are starting to come back into the room.
Yeah, well, it had a 60-second delay, so some people may take another 30 seconds to get back.
Yeah, I just noticed that. Yeah, so they're closing in 5 seconds time. That's okay. So they got 5 minutes rather than 4. That's fine. Okay, so everybody is coming back. Okay, welcome back, everybody. Right, so we have everyone back in the room. Nice chat, Tong and Fred. Okay, says Sondang. Okay, good. So
Sorry,
I hope you
we just
enjoyed.
answered number one question because we're busy talking of the experience.
Oh, that's fine. Okay, who am I talking to?
This is Phoebe.
Phoebe. Okay, Phoebe. Well, would you like to share with me a little bit about what you discussed in your room?
We have only finished question number one, which is, how to improve our relationships, because I have experienced that kind of situation. So I shared my experience with my partner. So we don't talk much, but actually talking much, but our experience.
Okay, well, can you give me one example of how you would improve your relationships with people?
So by that moment when it happened to me off to Bali, so I experienced that kind of vision, like I'm waiting that my life is gonna end very soon. So there's only two things in my mind. I'm only thinking of saying and appreciate my husband more. The second thing that in my mind is, why did I bring my ATMs and jewelries? I should have not bring them to holiday.
Yeah, okay, that's a good point. Okay, thank you very much, Phoebe. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
And yeah, I think a lot of people would agree. Maybe be nicer to the people that you love, right? I think that's a very important point. I'm just going to ask one more. We have one more volunteer. So if you can you type into the chat box if you would like to say something. So please type into the chat box if you'd like to say something, and I'll choose someone to share. Linkan says okay. Okay, Linkan, you were first. So Linkan, can you unmute and tell us what you talked about? Linkan?
Yes.
Okay, can you share?
Oh, okay. Can you hear me?
Yes,
okay.
I can.
So our group, we had 3 participants, and we did spend a lot of time on number one without realizing we've gone out of time, but we've run out of time. But we have 4 answers. Number one, we wish that we were, we would be, or we were, sorry.
We were, yeah.
Find out we want to try to be there for people,
right? And
we want to be nicer to people, to treat people nicer. That's number one. Number two, I think it's travel, the wish to travel. Number 3, it's the words we want to say to everybody. I love you. The words I love you. And then the last one, I forgot the last one. Let's see. I forgot.
Okay, well, three is enough, Linkan. Okay, thank you very much. So I like that. Right, you want to say that you love people, right? And again, I think very important. Sometimes we forget to do that. Okay, thank you very much, Linkan. Thank you for sharing. Listen, I wish we had more time so that I could get a lot more people to answer, but unfortunately, we are basically coming to the end, so I'm going to have to move on. So it looks like a lot of you enjoyed the discussion there, and so in future sessions I will try and incorporate more time, okay, for you to discuss in your groups. It looks like that was quite successful. Okay, so basically this is the end of the lesson, okay, that we're looking at. So I'm just going to share very quickly before I wrap up what I would set for homework for you. So over here, if you can see on my screen, we have a task here, task E, and this is what I would be setting for homework. I would set that I would put students with a partner or in a group, and I would ask them to pick one of these discussions, and I'd ask them to do that offline, okay, on their own time, to discuss one of these, and then set a task either of writing a summary of their discussion, or of actually recording them speaking and summarizing what they talked about and submitting that so that we could listen to it, or you could get them to present in the next class. I'm also going to very quickly show you something that I can also use for homework, and this is using MyELT, which is our learning management system. And if I quickly log into MyELT, and I can go into the class that I've set up. So this is basically a system where I can add all of my students into this system, and then I can automatically send them homework, and they can complete this. I can actually check the homework. I can see what scores students are getting. I can also see how much time they spent doing it. And here they can watch the video, and there's lots of comprehension questions that they can do here, which really help them to go deeper into the meaning of the talk. We can see tasks like a critical thinking task, where they have to think about these events, like where did this happen? Was it before, during, or after the crash? So fight with his life would be, fight with his wife was before the crash. Spoke to flight attendant on the plane. Didn't apologize, that would be before. And a couple more tasks linked in here. We've also got this one. So the 3 main points. So the first thing he learnt is that life changes in an instant. The second thing he learned is he had a regret. And the third thing was that he realized that dying isn't scary. Yeah, so this is just an example of the different types of activities. This is another critical thinking task where students have to basically empathize with Ric and think about how he changed and which of these statements he would probably have said before the plane crash, and it illustrates how he changed. So all of these, I said, you can send directly to your students, and this is a really nice way either for homework, or even if you want to use the flipped classroom approach, you could get them to do this for pre-work before the class, and then you could do the lesson as we did just now. Okay, so we are out of time, so I am going to open up to you for question and answer. I know, I'm sorry I'm a bit over time, but I am going to give you a chance now if you do have any questions, just for a couple of minutes, if you can stay on the line. So if you do have a question, you can type into the box, into the chat box, and I'll try and answer. Mario asked, how do we get to this website? I'm not sure which, Mario, which website you're talking about. If you're talking about the My ELT website I just showed you, that is actually part of the offering that we have. If you are using National Geographic Learning programs, then you can also talk to one of our reps about how to get set up on that. Angelina says, can the teachers see what happens in the breakout room? Angelina, it's a good question. You can, but only by going into one breakout room at a time. So from the main room you can't see, but if you enter the breakout room one by one, then you can see. So if you have, let's say, if you only have about 5 or 6 breakout rooms, then yes, you can check. Today I had 17 breakout rooms, so it wasn't possible. Sean asks, are breakout rooms on a version of Zoom? Breakout rooms, I think, are available even with the free version of Zoom, I think. I'm not 100% sure, but that's my understanding, Sean. But the problem with the free version is you only have a 40-minute session. Let's see, any other questions that I need to answer? What textbook? Yeah, the textbook is World English, 3rd edition. And yeah, it's a very nice, very interesting textbook. Okay, so as I don't have much time, I'm just going to quickly show you. I did see questions about the next webinar. So for the upcoming webinar, we have one next week, here we go. And the webinar next week is with Andrew Tiffany. So if I can just ask Andrew just to unmute and just tell us a little bit about what's happening next week.
Hi all. Yeah, so next week we're going to be looking at a young learner lesson from the Our World program. So it's going to be level 1, which means usually these are grade 1 students, maybe only 6 or 7 years old. So we'll see that one. It will be, yeah, it'll be a bit of fun because level 1 students, they're usually beginners, right? So we'll see how that one goes.
Okay, thank you very much, Andrew. And I'm just going to move on to my last slide, or second to last slide. So for follow-up, as I mentioned earlier, we will be sending you an email which will contain your e-certificate. So I know a few of you are excited about that. So yeah, you will receive that very shortly. And we do also have a very short survey, which I would be very grateful if you could complete. It will literally take you 2 2 minutes, okay, 2 or 3 minutes to do it. The recording, good question, Diane. Yeah, the recording, we will send a link in the email, in the follow-up email. So you will get the certificate and a link to this recording. Okay, Hieg says, can't wait. Okay, that's wonderful. I'm glad to hear that. And finally, before we wrap up, yeah, please, if you haven't already done so, please become a fan. You can go to our website, okay, eltngl.com. You can go to our Facebook, you can go to our WeChat, and I hope to see you. You will see Andrew next week. I will be back in 2 weeks' time, okay, at the same time, and I will be doing a session based on one of our team titles called Impact. It will be a lesson using a National Geographic Explorer, and I really hope that all of you come back, and I can't wait to see you then. Okay, so thank you very much. Have a great day. Keep yourselves safe, and I will see you in 2 weeks' time. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. William.
Thank you so much for everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, really.
Thank
really
you.
Thank you.
Mr. William.
Thank you
Mr.
all.
William.
Bye.
William, thank you,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Nice to meet you.
Bye.
See you.
See you.
See you. Bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you.